Welcome to That Time When. Matt Miller with you in Studio 4. This is the series where we're flashing back through the archive of Trek Zone, digging through over 580 episodes of podcasting content from the world's only daily science, space and sci-fi podcast network. Today, That Time When, we flew to Perth and caught up with Nana Visitor.
Taking you back through the library of Trek Zone on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts and YouTube. That Time When.
Welcome to Trek Zone Toll Dog Interviews. We're in Perth for Oz Comic Con. Nana Visitor is to my right. Nana, thanks so much for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Welcome to Australia. It's not your first time here.
No, I was here, it has to be 18 years ago, because I was heavily pregnant with my son Django, who's now 17 years old.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, for 7 years, you came into our homes as Major, then Colonel Kira on DS9. What was that like, that experience?
The most amazing part of that experience is what's going on right here, that 20 years later, I'm still talking about it and enjoying it with people and going to different countries where I have something in common with a whole group of you, you know, and meeting new people. That's the most extraordinary part.
Now, DS9 was the most diverse Star Trek. It explored a lot more darker sort of elements than the Star Trek before it. Do you have any feelings towards Deep Space Nine's storytelling?
I love and respect our writers. And I didn't know that it was dark, but a truthful shade of gray that sometimes you couldn't call it who was right and who was wrong. Things didn't always have a clean button, you know, to tidily end things. And that's so much more truthful to life.
And it really reflected the times as well. Like Next Generation in the 80s was very hopeful and optimistic about the future, but Deep Space Nine in the 90s sort of brought it back to reality, and that's the world we live in, is this shade of grey.
Right.
And having Kira as a non-human, being a Bajoran, she was able to actually explore more human elements, I guess.
Absolutely.
So that she could be the sort of moral compass for Sisko.
Well, that's the great thing about science fiction. It gives us just a little bit of remove so that we can take a good long look at ourselves.
So you said you love coming, 20 years later, here you are still talking about it.
Yeah.
It's been off the air it's been 15 years now.
Yeah, but still on the air.
What does the Star Trek journey mean for you as a whole? Coming out of it all and being part of this massive franchise, did you feel anything like that, is this big adventure?
As an actor, you can only hope for a character that takes your hand and leads you into scary places, emotionally, psychologically, and intellectually. And Kira was that for me. I wanted her desperately the minute I read the script, and that I got to play her was just one of the best things of my life. And it's not even a career thing. I mean, it was 7 years is an amazingly long part of your life, and it was a really important part of mine. I had my children, they grew up. Django, when he was 4, someone asked him, "Where are you from? What city are you from?" And he said, "Star Trek Los Angeles." And that's kind of, that experience, that's how it was. It wasn't just my job, it was my life.
Are you watching us on YouTube? Click the link in the description to catch this interview in full now. Maybe you're listening to us on your favourite podcast app. Then beam over to our official watch page and click the link there.